Good morning, everyone. 2016 has been an extraordinary year for the settlement sector, and we have to figure out how many times we use extraordinary year over the next few days. We have been at the forefront of the largest resettlement movement in Canadian history, and once again, our ability as a sector to be innovative, responsive, and flexible, to be local leaders and spokespeople in supporting the Syrian refugee operation has been tested under the intense interests of both the public and the media. Minister McCallum signaled in October 31st that Canada would set a new baseline target, and I think it's important to stress the word baseline, of 300,000 immigrant and refugees in 2017. And the sector has been very supportive of this increased levels, albeit with some concerns around humanitarian immigration directions. We await with great interest the multi-year immigration plan, which the sector, among others, has been requesting for years. But there's too often terms that are used within the Government of Canada these days. One is innovation, and one is outcomes-based reporting. Innovation has been the cornerstone of the settlement sector, an integral component of our programming as we strive to meet the diverse and increasing needs of future Canadians. Innovation is found in every region of the country, but we don't always realize it as such, and or find it difficult to articulate our innovation given current reporting structures. And while we've had a major collaborative breakthrough between the sector and IRCC with the introduction of National Reporting Database System, ICARE, it only tells a limited story of the impact of our collective work in communities across Canada. The quarterly and annual narrative reporting requirements, while on the right track, are cumbersome and remain unknown to the sector how narrative information is analyzed and reported to senior department staff, as well as being completely unknown to the sector. So, with the federal government interest in promoting innovation, it begs the question, what type of funding environment promotes innovation? I would like to illustrate this point through a short 3-minute video, a recent innovative project involving Syrian youth consultation, one of many innovations that the sector has responded to in response to the Syrian refugee operations. So take a look at this.
So we really want to better understand your own experience, what it was like to come to Canada, what we can do to help you and your peers in the future that come to Canada.
فنحب يعني ناخذ من خبراتكم اللي عن طريق قدومكم من سوريا لكندا، شنو الاشياء اللي عانيتوها، شنو الاشياء اللي واجهتوها، حتى نحاول نساعدكم لكم ونساعد الناس اللي جايين جدد كمان اللي بعدكم.
بس أول بأول صار الوضع يتحسن. لما انتقلنا على سكن جديد بلشنا نروح على مدرسة، صار عنا أصدقاء جداد، صرنا نشارك بفعاليات ISS لمزيك منظمات كثيرة هون ساعدتنا. طبعا هذا الشيء يعني حسن من حالتنا.
التكيف مع مجتمع جديد بيختلف اختلاف كبير عن المجتمع اللي كنت عايش فيه. والشغلة الثانية تعلم لغة جديدة، هاي تقريبا أكبر المشاكل اللي واجهتها لحد الآن؟
أنا بدي أول طلب يعني عشان نحل مشكلة أهلي، لأنه أهلي كمان عم بضغطوا يعني هي إنه يجي أخي، لأنه أخي معاق هو متعلق فيه.
أنا بالأساس قبل ما أجي على كندا بلشت دراسة بالجامعة صيدلة وحلمي إني كمله.
هون بكندا الشيء الصعوبة إنه ممكن دخول الجامعة هو أمر كتير مو بالأمر السهل، لازم له شروط وله كذا، رغم إنه أنا دارس بتركيا ومعي شهاداتي ومعي كل شيء. يعني هون في عندي مثلا ناس بيقولوا لي ممكن تنقبل ممكن ما تنقبل، فهي مشكلة.
بشكر إنه هم ساعدونا، بشكر إنه هم عم بيحاولوا يعطونا الأمل ويعطونا يعني إنه نرجع نستقر من أول وجديد. بشكرهم يعني قد ما شكرت ما راح وفي الشكر اللي هم عم بيقدموا لنا إياه.
So the consultation involved meals that were over $15 per youth. They involved an honorarium of $50 per youth. It was a leg-breaking initiative that was not in our proposal. It meant developing of a social media campaign and working with youth to give them a voice in a press conference that wasn't controlled by adults. It meant engaging and training young people to lead the consultation in Arabic in their own language. We had to adjust the budget a couple of times. We overspent. We had to go back to get some additional funds. And the reporting was based on outcomes and a simple report, financial statement at the end of the consultation. So the point I want to highlight here is that although there's been several significant changes, and I mean significant changes, within the contribution agreement framework, less line items, collapsed administrative fees, the rent versus ownership policy, increased ability to move some funds around, the biggest factor in the promotion of innovation is the procurement and accountability framework. The contribution agreement framework, as currently outlined, does not promote innovation. And with all due respect, IRCC settlement officers have been trained as almost like de facto bank tellers that are concerned about cash flow, slippage, monitoring the flow of funds, line item expenses, letting us know whether we can replace a staff or not, approval of what and how funds can be invested in programming that was not in our original proposals. So sector colleagues, including myself, could best be described as penguins. So you know how penguins with their wings tied to their sides try and move around, flapping our wings, trying to navigate program and expense adjustments. Now, so I'm an internal optimist, but I'm also a pragmatist and I'm a realist. And I know the contribution agreement framework within the government of Canada is not going to disappear. But we have to work towards things like, there has to be more flexibility within the contribution agreement framework. And unfortunately, the legacy of the funding irregularities of the former HRDC fiasco continues to haunt us all. But are there future measures that can be taken that could be implemented within a contribution agreement framework? I'd like to offer up some suggestions for consideration. Allow the sector to carry over slippage into subsequent years within the full term of the contribution agreement. So the minister this morning did not take the opportunity to announce that the government of Canada has put aside an additional $18.5 million for Syria within the current fiscal year. The sector welcomes it, on the one hand. On the other hand, now we've got to spend it all before March 31st, or it slips and disappears into the vortex of government. So that would be one idea. And what I'm sharing today is not radical because it's being done by other federal departments. Can we review and increase the current allowable percentages that allow us to move funds around and remove the option of IRCC settlement officers questioning our decisions even when they're allowable under current guidelines? Negotiate the allowable funding amount and let us manage those funds for the duration of the contribution agreement. We would submit quarterly claims based on actuals with continued financial monitoring to assure accountability for the funds received. Give the sector the ability to manage the funds to ensure all funds are expensed rather than getting into decommissioning discussions. In most cases, this would ensure that the sector wasn't returning badly needed funds annually through IRCC back to the Treasury Board. At times, it feels like a puttering car with a stop-go reaction driving over speed bumps. We have funds submitted. We have to submit our proposals within 48 hours or halfway through the year. We're projecting slippage of X amounts. We're going to amend the CA or remove it. This is the life that we live. And so when the minister talks about efficiency of processing, concurrent processing, there is an opportunity here going forward with higher baseline immigration levels, likely a higher national settlement budget to explore further flexibility within the contribution of framework. I'd also like to speak for a couple of minutes about outcome-based reporting. While in general we have very good outputs reporting system in iCare, it doesn't tell the impact of our work though. And while it's unlikely that any system would be able to accurately capture the far-reaching impact of our collective work and impact, with increased competitive funding demands around the cabinet tables and all eyes on the sector as a result of the Syrian refugee operations, we need to explore together ways to capture our outcomes. We need to define what are the indicators, settlement indicators that can be attributed to IRCC funding. And so I think this is an opportunity and time as we look forward to the vision of the settlement sector of two critical needs. One is to work together to define an outcome measurement reporting. And the other one, of course, is working with and within the contribution agreement to find some additional flexibility. So while we wait the release of the multi-year immigration plan and given early indications of higher immigration levels for the foreseeable future, it's important for us to take stock of current accountability and reporting structures to ensure we are well placed to tell our collective story while enhancing an environment that promotes innovation and program impact. Thank you.